Okay. Very good morning, my dear friends. Very good afternoon, my dear friends. So today's eminent resource person, Dr.K.RANI Madam Garu, Assistant Professor, Department of Botany, Government Degree College, Autonomous SIDDIPET. Madam is going to explain one of the important topic, that is nitrogen metabolism, one of the most important area in plant physiology. So my dear friends and my dear students, listen carefully, and if you have any doubts during this class, please ask our respected keynote speaker. Madam, please start your session.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, my dear students. Today we are going to discuss about the nitrogen metabolism. So it is very important in entrance point of view, either PG or B.Ed also. So
Madam, if possible, please enlarge this slide.
Okay, sir. Just. Lecturer in Botany, Government Degree College, Autonomous SIDDIPET. Today we are going to discuss about the nitrogen metabolisms and nitrogen fixation. So this is very important topic. Generally, for introduction purpose, nitrogen is an essential constituent of all biomolecules, both in plants and in animals also. So the entire spectrum of living chemical reactions, it is occurring in living systems, that is called the metabolisms. Entire spectrum of living chemical reactions, all are occurring in living systems. So that is the metabolism. Metabolism is broadly classified into two types. So in that first one is the catabolism and anabolism. Completely, metabolism is broadly classified into two types, catabolisms and anabolisms. So the catabolism means it is a degradative process. It is concerned with the breakdown of complex molecules to simples with the releases of the energy. So that is broadly catabolism. And what is anabolism? So almost these all are coming in physiology purpose, almost in the respiration, we'll discuss that. So in anabolism means the biosynthetic reactions involving in the formation of complex molecules from simple precursors. So this is the anabolism. In the nitrogen metabolism, so completely all metabolisms are some catabolism and anabolisms. So the most of the plants, they can obtain nitrogen from soil in the form of nitrate or ammonium ion. So completely the nitrogen is, it is the atmosphere is found in the gaseous form, and it is measures about the 78%. So in recently 78.8% in the atmospheric nitrogen is available in the environment. Okay, Nana? So it is very important. Nitrogen, it is completely found in the gaseous form. It is measured about the 78.8. So the atmospheric consists 78.8 of molecular nitrogen, but the plants unable to convert this molecular nitrogen into a useful form. So because the lack the enzyme nitrogenase. The enzyme nitrogenase is lack of the nitrogenase enzyme. The plants, they are unable to take the molecular nitrogen. So molecular means N2. Nitrogen is available in the atmosphere, 78.8%. So, but this is not unable to take the plants. Only the prokaryotic species, they can possess this enzyme. So generally the process of nitrogen metabolism, almost the nitrogen, the elemental nitrogen is not available to higher plants, but certain the prokaryotes, means the blue-green algae and some of the microorganisms like bacteria, these all are prokaryotic, can utilize it. However, the higher plants can utilize nitrogen only in combined forms. So the different forms, generally nitrate nitrogen, almost ammonia nitrogen, organic nitrogen, molecular nitrogen. So these all are the different combined forms. So there are almost four types of the nitrogen sources will the plants can utilize these combined forms. So in the process of nitrogen metabolism, the nitrogen, it is the most prevalent essential macro element, Nana. So almost the 16 elements are essential. In that 9 is the macro elements and 7 is micro elements. In that CHO, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So these 3 are called as a structural elements. So this is structural elements, and remaining 3, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So NPK. So in that nitrogen it is a critical elements, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So that's why nitrogen is the most prevalent essential macro element. So it regulates the plant growth, especially in the agricultural systems. In that the main source of nitrogen for the construction of nitrogenous organic compounds is the atmosphere. So as I told you that, so almost the plants, they are metabolism. Okay, so but unfortunately, most plants, they cannot utilize it in its elementary form. So they have to depend on the soil and they acquire nitrogen in inorganic form. So either as ammonium compounds or as nitrates. So 4 different forms, nitrate, nitrogen, these all are the different combined forms are available in the atmosphere. So the nitrogen metabolism, it includes the both anabolic and catabolic process. Almost we'll discuss that. Anabolic and catabolic process. Anabolic means biosynthetic reactions involving the formation of complex molecules from simple precursors. And catabolism means, so it is a degradative process. It is concerned with the breakdown of the complex molecules to simple ones. So this is quite opposite characteristics, catabolism and anabolism. So the nitrogen metabolism includes the both anabolic and catabolic process. So in that anabolic process are the nitrogen fixation, amino acid synthesis, and third one is the protein synthesis. And catabolic process are proteolysis and amino acid destruction, denitrification. Sir?
Example Japan, madam, amino acid synthesis ki, protein synthesis ki.
Okay, just we will almost all we will discuss in this topic. The main broad things are the anabolic and catabolic. Anabolic nitrogen fixation, almost nitrogen fixation is completed in 5 steps. Amino acid synthesis, almost valine, this tryptophan, these all are the including in that protein synthesis. All we will discuss in this area. So please keep going on. That is the catabolic process, proteolysis and amino acid destruction, denitrification, nitrification. So you want the amino, what do you mean, Nana? Amino acid and protein
synthesis prepare cheyadaniki reagents untayi ma'am.
Okay. So we will discuss in this class. Almost all the topics are covered in this anabolic and catabolic process. So first we will start with the nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation. Almost the nitrogen fixation is types of nitrogen fixation, that is 2 types, biological nitrogen fixation and non-biological nitrogen fixation. So in that biological also called as symbiotic nitrogen fixation and non-biological also called as non-symbiotic nitrogen fixation. So in this, first we will start with the non-biological. It's very in the examination point of view, what is the nitric acid, nitrogen peroxide, nitric acids, these all are including in this way. So this is the nitrogen fixation. What is nitrogen fixation? Process by which inorganic molecular nitrate, that means N2 form, molecular nitrogen from the atmosphere is incorporated first into ammonia and then into organic compounds. So that are useful to the organism. That is the nitrogen fixation. In the nitrogen fixation, the atmospheric nitrogen is reduced by the addition of the hydrogen atoms. So that is completely, and almost 2 or 3 steps are involved in this. Then the first step, atmospheric nitrogen is reduced by the addition of hydrogen atoms. And as a result of the bonds between the 2 nitrogen atoms, that means N2 and N2. So they both will broke down, so resulting in the formation of the ammonia. And ammonia thus formed is used for the synthesis of the amino acid. So in this almost in the non-biological nitrogen fixation, first molecular nitrogen, it is combined with the oxygen in the presence of lightning. So thunderstorming or lightning, it will formed as a nitric acid, 2NO. And again, 2NO is combined with the oxygen molecule in the process of oxidation. So it is converted as a nitrogen peroxide, 2NO2. And 2NO2 is combined with the water molecule. So in the rainy season, so it is HNO2 plus HNO3, nitric or nitrate. So in that, the 4 NO2s, nitrogen peroxides, combined with the 2 molecules of the water, so 2HO, 2H2O, and at the same time oxygen also combined for that, it will convert as a nitric acid. So in this way, almost some of the precipitated molecule calcium or phosphorus CaO plus 2HNO3, they are converted as a calcium nitrate, and in this the HNO3 plus NH3 ammonia, so ammonium nitrate, almost the HNO2 plus NH3 ammonia nitrate and nitrate, these all are formed in the presence of the, so without any microorganisms are involved in this process. That's why that is known as a non-biological fixation. The microorganisms do not take place, so it will found in the rainy season during the lightning or thunderstorms. Almost, so N2 plus O2, 2NO plus oxygen molecules, 2NO2, nitrogen peroxide, 2NO2 plus water molecule, HNO2 plus HNO3. So 4 molecules of the NO2, nitric oxide combined with water molecule and at the same time oxygen. So it will convert as a nitric acid, HNO3 almost. So in this, some of the phosphorus and calcium also involved in this process. Calcium oxide plus 2HNO3, calcium nitrate. So almost HNO3 plus NH3, ammonium nitrate, HNO2 plus NH3, ammonium nitrate. These all are the non-biological. That means the microorganisms do not take place. No involving of the microorganisms. The molecular, that means N2, molecular nitrogen can convert into different forms like almost ammonium nitrate. So these all are the different forms is available. So this is takes the almost higher plants will take in the different form of the nitrogenous compounds. And this is second one is the biological fixation, biological nitrogen fixation. It's very, very, very important. So the fixation of atmospheric nitrogen into nitrogenous salts. So with the help of microorganisms. Bio means almost all the organisms. So living cells. So the biological nitrogen fixation means with the help of microorganisms, they can convert the atmospheric nitrogen into different forms of the nitrogenous compounds. So the biological nitrogen fixation is 2 types, Nana. The conversion of atmospheric dinitrogen, that means N2 into a chemical form, which plants and microbes can use for growth. So that is called almost the biological nitrogen fixation. It is 2 types, symbiotic nitrogen fixation and non-symbiotic nitrogen fixation. So almost the biological nitrogen fixation, it consisting of some microbes. They are inhabiting in the ecto or endosymbiotic association. So the nitrogen fixation takes place by two types of the microorganisms. In that, one is the asymbiotic or free living, and the second one is the symbiotic. Symbiotic means that live in association with other plants. Okay, so the biological nitrogen fixation takes place by the two types of the microorganisms. So the ability to fix nitrogen is found only in certain bacteria. So there are some live in a symbiotic relationship with plants of the legume family, you know all. That means the soya bean, alfalfa, any almost Fabaceae family members. So the some of the live in a symbiotic relationship with the plants of the legume family, Leguminaceae family, and some establish the symbiotic relationships with the plants other than the legumes. So almost all alders and some of the other, they are the establish the symbiotic relationship with other than leguminous. So some plants, some are the nitrogen fixing bacteria. They are the living free in the soil, and some nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. They are essential to maintaining the fertility of semi-aquatic environments like rice paddies. So cyanobacteria, almost Nasta, Canabina, Cillatoria, all these Myxophyceae or Cyanophyceae, blue-green algae. So they are the essential to maintaining the fertility of the environments. So they can also fix the nitrogen, that is the nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. So these all are the, with the help of almost microorganisms, whatever it may be, bacteria or some Leguminaceae family members or Cyanophyceae or any other nitrogen fixing free living organisms. These all are ability to fix nitrogen. So that is the biological nitrogen fixation.
Madam,
So
once
the
again,
biology, this way,
ma'am,
you want
symbiotic
examples? Any?
no,
Amma?
ma'am, symbiotic relationship, correct meaning, exact meaning, ma'am.
Symbiotic means both will get the just to they are the association with almost, you know that Nana, lichen, one algae, one fungi, or in this way. So the family Leguminaceae family, almost వేరుశనగ ఉంది చూడండి, వేరుశనగలో అంటే మనకి ఏదైతే రూట్ నాడ్యూల్ ఫార్మేషన్ ఆఫ్ ది లెగ్యూమ్ ప్లాంట్స్, సో దే కెన్ almost both will get the benefit. That is the symbiotic association, mutual benefit of the both organisms. So that is the symbiotic relationship of the plants. So soya bean or any other plants like root nodules of the మనకి దీంట్లో ఉంటది కదా, ఆల్మోస్ట్ వేరుశనగలో ఉండేటటువంటి అవి కానీ లేకుంటే all the Fabaceae family members are the, they can form the root nodules with the help of the bacteria. So that is completely symbiotic relationship. In this, both will get benefits, plant and almost the bacteria, both will get benefit. That is the symbiotic relationship. Okay, any doubt? So in this, almost the symbiotic nitrogen fixing, the members of the family Leguminosae and some other families, almost gymnosperms and fens also associate with various nitrogen fixing microorganisms. మీకు ఇక్కడ ఏంటివి అని అంటే, ఇక్కడ host and organism, microorganism, both will get the benefits. So that is the mutualism or symbiotic association of the family. Almost in the higher plants, the nitrogen fixing microorganisms, they are found in the small knob-like outgrowths. So they are called the nodules, Nana. They are usually found on roots. So you know one example, azolla also very important. So azolla, they are found in the pockets of the leaves. Miku azolla is the water fern plant. So it is also filled with some nostoc, or in the thallus anatomy, we'll observe the some nostoc సిస్ట్స్ అన్ని కూడా జిగురు కోశాల్లాగా మనకి దాంట్లో ఉంటాయి. సో దట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో బెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. Azolla also, so found in the pockets of the leaves. They are in symbiotic association and in the bacterium, rhizobium bacteria. So rhizobium bacteria also receives the carbon containing substances. So it is also provide the nitrogen fixing amino acids to the plants. So that is almost all the symbiotic relationship in the both the partners. So partners means both will benefited from each other. That is the symbiotic relationship. Okay. So leguminaceae family members are other like ikkada meeku inka evi తీసుకున్నా సరే all are the symbiotic relationship. Okay. So some establish they can establish the symbiotic relationship with the plants. So other than the legumes. Other than the legumes lo meeku lichens vastayi, some certain fungi also, some of the gymnosperms. So these all are the some other than legumes. And some nitrogen fixing bacteria, free living bacteria in the soil. So that is also, they can fix the atmospheric nitrogen. They can convert the different form of the nitrogenous compounds. These all are the some examples. So in biological nitrogen fixation, it will require a complex set of enzymes and a huge expenditure of the ATP also. Although the first stable product of the process, that is ammonia, this is quickly incorporated into protein and other organic nitrogen compounds. So almost the first stable product of the process is the ammonia. So you know that almost in this process, the 4 nitrogen sources, first is the nitrate nitrogen. So it is nitrogen in the soil. It is found mostly in the oxidized form. That means NO3 minus. So it is absorbed by the roots of the higher plants and it is transported into young leaves. So where it gets reduced to ammonia. NO3 minus can convert into NH3 ammonia. So that's why that is the stable product of the process. First stable product of the process is the ammonia. Okay. So the reduction takes place into 2 steps. In that the first step takes place in the cytosol, where the nitrogen is reduced to nitrite by the enzyme nitrate reductase. So that is the first step. And then after the second step takes place in the chloroplast. So where the nitrite means, so nitrate NO3 minus, nitrite NO2 minus, that is reduced to ammonia by the enzyme, that is the nitrite reductase. So the both will very familiar in the nitrogen metabolism process. So almost the scientists estimate that the biological fixation globally adds approximately 140 million metric tons of the nitrogen to ecosystem per annum. Okay. So some just we will, if you want, you can take the screenshot now, some of the examples, some nitrogen fixing organisms. Almost last slide we will discuss that. Some pre-living aerobic bacteria is the Azotobacter, Beiserenchia, Klebsiella, Cyanobacterium. So that is the free-living aerobic bacteria. And free-living anaerobic bacteria, so in that Clostridium, D-sulfovibrobacteria, purple sulfur bacteria, purple non-sulfur bacteria, green sulfur bacteria. Okay, so free-living associative bacteria is the Azospirillum. Only one, that is the Azospirillum. And symbiotic nitrogen bacteria, Rhizobium with legumes, Frankia species with alden trees. So this is the symbionts. Symbiotic association of the Rhizobium bacteria with Leguminaceae family members. So they can form the root nodules in the root parts. So, and Frankia, that is almost Frankia species with symbiotic with the alden trees. So these all are the very entrance point of nitrogen fixing organisms. Some of the it's the examples of the nitrogen fixing organisms. Okay, free living aerobic bacteria, free living anaerobic bacteria, free living associative bacteria, and symbiotic association of the nitrogen metabolism. Okay, so what is the symbiotic nitrogen fixation? In this, what is the symbiotic nitrogen fixation? So almost the symbiotic nitrogen fixing systems, they are found in many vascular plants and some non-vascular plants also. So a number of angiosperms and some gymnosperms and some fins, they all are associated with various nitrogen fixing microorganisms. The symbiotic nitrogen fixing system in non-vascular plants is almost represented by lichens. So just we will take some best example of that. That is the root nodules. They are the rhizobium bacteria with the leguminosae member. Okay. So in the higher plants, the nitrogen fixing microorganisms are found in small knob-like outgrowths. They are called the nodules, root nodules. Okay. Symbiotic nitrogen fixation, it occurs in plants that harbor nitrogen fixing bacteria within their tissues only. So the best studied example is the symbiotic association between the roots of legumes and bacteria of the genus Rhizobium. Okay, so almost this is a association results from the root nodules in the leguminaceae only. The root nodules, it is enlarged multicellular structures on roots. What is root nodule, Nana? Knob-like structure. Okay, so small, they are round or small knob-like outgrowths. They are called the nodules. They are usually found laterally on roots, but in almost they are enlarged multicellular structures on the roots. So legume means leguminaceae, legumes. So Fabaceae, they are the rhizobium association with fixed 25 to 60 kg of the almost not kg. So rhizobium association will fix 25 to 60 kg of molecular nitrogen annually. Okay, per annum 25 to 60 kgs of the molecular nitrogen annually. So this is the formation of a root nodule. So it's very important. Formation of root nodules, nodulation in the legumes. Just we will discuss one by one. What is the formation of the root nodules? Okay, so in the higher plants, the nitrogen fixing microorganisms, they are found in the almost in between the small knob-like outgrowths. They are the nodules. They are usually found in the laterally on roots. So the in the each means, so symbiotic relationship, both the partners, they are benefited from each other. So first we'll discuss that the formation of the nodule, initiation and structure of the nodule. In this, the free living bacteria are found in soil rhizosphere. Okay, almost the bacteria are first found in the soil. So the root nodules are induced by the bacteria. Both will almost available in the soil, the plant root part, and bacteria also available in the soil. They are the free living bacteria. Rhizobium bacteria is the free living bacteria. It is found in the soil rhizosphere, and at the same time the root nodules are induced by bacteria. So they enter the host by way of root hairs, by the way of the root hairs, which undergo the characteristics curling. So you can observe here, almost this is the plant part, Nana, the root part. So you'll take one small box, root hairs. So the root hairs will get the curling structure. Okay, intact with the bacteria. Rhizobium bacteria is come too close to the root part. So they enter the host by way of the root hairs. They can undergo the characteristics of the curling or deformed structure of the root part. So apparently, due to some auxin synthesis by bacteria, they can almost excrete some auxins. So auxins are synthesis by the bacteria. The loosening of cell wall in response to auxins and by a digestion of the cell wall, that is the pectin cell wall is digested by the enzyme polygalacturonase. ఇక్కడ మనకి ఏంటి అనంటే both will come side by side. So whenever comes near to the plant part, the bacteria, so it can secrete some auxins. So auxins are synthesis by the bacteria. At the same time, some with that substances, the cell wall is response to the digestion of the cell wall. So by the enzyme polygalacturonase by host in response to the bacterial association, so help in making the entry of the bacteria. So it will entering into the bacteria into plant root part. So entering of bacteria is followed by organization of bacteria into a thread-like alignment. So that is called infection thread. So you can observe here, almost the rhizobium is attached to the root hair. Rhizobia is entering into the part, so they can secrete some infection thread. Okay, adenti anante manaki cell wall digestive gaagane, so by the enzyme polygalacturonase, so it responds to the bacteria and association in making the entry of the bacteria. So entering of bacteria, that is almost it is thread-like alignment is formed in that part. That is thread-like alignment is called as a infection thread. So it moves inwardly and it penetrates into the cortex and some less commonly even to the pericycle also. So whenever the formation of the infection thread, almost the infection thread moves inwardly and it is penetrate into the cortex part of the plant anatomy. Manaki root anatomy lo cortex part loki okasari occupy cheseskuntundi. So after that, and some less amount even into the pericycle also moving inwardly. So some recent studies, it will show that entry is not essentially into almost tetraploid cells, and the polyploidy of cortical cells may be induced by some products that they all are secreted by forwarding the infection thread. Almost, so whatever it may be, the bacteria is intact with the root plant. మనకి ఎక్కడికైతే దగ్గరికి వచ్చేస్తుందో అప్పుడు అది సిక్రెట్ చేసినటువంటి ఆక్సిన్స్ తోటి క్లోజ్నెస్ పెరుగుతుంది. అది ఏదైతే ఎంజైమ్ సిక్రెట్ చేస్తుందో అక్కడ సెల్ వాల్ అనేది డైజెస్టివ్ అయిపోతుంది. సో డైజెస్టివ్ కాగానే బ్యాక్టీరియా లోపలికి ఎంటర్ అయిపోయి దాంట్లో ఉండేటటువంటి ఇన్ఫెక్షన్ థ్రెడ్ లాగా ఏర్పడుతుంది. ఇన్ఫెక్షన్ థ్రెడ్ ఈస్ అటాచెస్ విత్ ద ఆల్మోస్ట్ 70% ఆఫ్ ది కార్టెక్స్ అండ్ 10 to 12% of the pericycle also it will entering into of the infection thread. Okay, so the bacteria is almost the electron microscope, it will show the infection thread is made up of in part of the greatly enfolded plasma lemma of the cell being the invaded. So the bacteria reproduce greatly inside the thread. The bacteria are liberated into the cytoplasm and almost it stimulate the cortex or pericycle cells to dividing again and again. So due to such divisions, it will proliferation of tissues takes place and there develops a mature nodule. It is made up of the host cells filled with the bacteria. So you can observe the third number of the diagram. Okay, so first entering of the rhizobium, rhizobia attached to the root hair. After that, an infection thread is formed through which bacteria enter the root cells. So then after, bacteria change into bacteroids. So packed root cells enlarged. That is the bacteroids. Bacteroids means almost it is liberated and proliferation of the bacterial cells. So such divisions takes place. So the mature nodule made up of the host cells filled with the bacteria. The bacterial division is also accompanied with the division of plant membrane. So thus each bacteria or group of bacteria is surrounded by an envelope. So that is derived from the host cell, that is the bacteroids. Almost all the envelope is filled with the bacteroids. Okay. So the enlarged non-motile bacteria in the membrane, so the all are called as a bags. Envelope is filled with the bacteria. So enlarged non-motile bacteria in the membrane, they are called bacteroids. So that is the third diagram. And almost the vascular tissue of the root set up continuity with the newly differentiated vascular tissues of the nodule. Bacteroids contain the essential nitrogen fixing enzyme. So the ATP is required for nitrogen fixation. Almost the knob-like structure, as I told you that the first, you can observe the fourth diagram, enlarged root cells form a nodule. All the bacterial cells are filled with one round knob-like structure,